Hello, and welcome to another thrilling account of a YouTuber dealing with social collapse. It's been about 6 months since the last one of these updates, and we've got some bad news, but we've also got a lot more good news. First, the good news is that the laws are going to change for the whole state for over 2 million homeowners in Georgia, and we are included in those changes. Senate Bill 406, aka the Georgia Property Owners Bill of Rights, passed both houses of the Georgia legislature with overwhelming support, and the governor signed it into law about a month before this video. For those who've been following this for 1 year, that's going to seem extremely fast, but for those of us who lived through this for years, this has been a long time coming. Thank you. This bill will, among many other things, increase the threshold of unpaid dues needed for an HOA to foreclose and force a sale on someone else's home from $2,000 to $4,000, which would have been helpful for our situation where a fire that started in an office used by a short-term rental company, aka an Airbnb company, led to an insurance dispute that hit the elderly residents with unexpected bills higher than the $2,000 threshold. SB 406 will also require HOAs to register with the state or else they can't collect fines, which our HOA has been doing to a lot of homeowners outside of their own little clique of that bespoke short-term rental company whose office had the fire and whose founding officers and family and friends are the HOA board. As part of this new requirement, they'll have to submit to the state something that they've been fighting about submitting to us residents: detailed financial records, not just summaries. HOAs are required to share that information, and if they don't want to, that's probably a bad sign. News articles and the full text of the bill itself are provided in the description below. Next up is that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution published a big investigative story about this, and hey, look at that, it's me! This article will have a lot of details that I have yet to discuss with you all myself. If you finally want to hear how the HOA justified sending me and a bunch of elderly people gore photos, you'll find their justification in this article, and I am pretty satisfied with our portrayal. In fact, I think it is very cool now that me pulling myself away from a game of Hunt Showdown to save me and my dog Eddie from a fire is now a part of my city's history. This article will also be linked in the description, and I am totally fine with people sharing this one around and discussing it. This is going to be one of the cleanest, clearest versions of the story we're going to get until the lawsuits wrap up. Next up is news from March 4th, when the Atlanta City Council's Human Relations Commission held a public hearing focusing on allegations of elder abuse. So, some of the elderly in the building showed up to be heard, and no one from the HOA showed up to defend.
Do we have a representative from Condominium Homeowners Association Board present? All right, seeing no representative.
The commission responded with a kinda disappointing answer. The city authorities are in favor of the elderly. They agree that retaliation is going on, but they can't really do anything at the moment. They do recognize the problems, but can't actually act, so they're trying to escalate the matter up to the mayor. But with all of that on the public record regardless, I am interpreting that as mildly good news. If you want to watch the whole thing, the link is in the description below, and you should probably start at about 14 minutes in. And now for the bad news. The new laws don't go into effect until 2027, and until then the HOA still has overwhelming power over the residents. On April 15th, the building's management announced that it would be locking down all the alternate entrances to the building. Everyone is supposed to go through the front door. The stated reason was to prevent short-term rental guests from sneaking in even more guests, but the residents, even the elderly and the handicapped, were given no exceptions from the new rule. This essentially locks the elderly and the handicapped out of the entrances closest to their parked cars. Zita Sarter, who's been a resident for 15 years, reiterated that point.
I always am concerned about being fined for letting people in. I haven't let anybody in. We've only let ourselves in. When my caretaker comes in, I only let her in, not other people.
And believe it or not, right around the time I was arranging for that very interview, Zita's unit began receiving a water leak from the unit above, which is owned by an LLC registered to an HOA board member. Clark Hood has lived here for over 30 years, and getting to the front door from his parking now requires a 10-minute walk around of the whole property into an uphill ramp of oncoming traffic.
I was going to ask what new habits you have to get used to because of the store policy.
Well, walking a lot more. I'm not a very good distance walker these days. I've been laid up for almost a year with this. It's much better now, but it's not fixed. But I'm very slow, and you can't carry very much when you've got your little friend beside you to hold you up.
And believe it or not, a couple weeks before making this video, a cart of Clark Hood's groceries was stolen while he was making one of these trips.
What I do is I go to the front door, unlock, and get in the door, put my groceries by the concierge desk, then get back in my car, come down here, walk up to the front door, and deal with my groceries. Now the problem is, week before last, I did that and my groceries were stolen. I let him out. The concierge was sitting there, but she had some errand, so she walked off. And by the time I got back from walking up here, the groceries were gone.
Do you remember how long it took?
Oh, probably 10 minutes.
Tammy Roche has lived in this building for over 50 years, and now her new routine goes something like this.
My husband has COPD, and he can't park way in front and walk all the way around the building to the door, and with a cane and an oxygen container around his neck. It's heavier than, it's more than 3 pounds. And I have to carry that going everything, wheelchair. That is ridiculous. No consideration. It's like we don't matter. We don't, exist. We're not human.
This new rule also forces all the residents into a contradiction against the building's existing rules, where big loads like carts for groceries and bicycles and furniture and pets are not allowed through the main entrance, even though they're saying that's the only entrance available.
It's a problem for everybody because nobody wants to have groceries or a package and have to schlep them. And they promised me if I needed any help with any groceries or any heavy packages or anything, all I had to do was call this number. Well, guess what? Nobody ever answers that phone. So I don't know whether that was some sort of ploy or what.
Not every place is designed against the people that live there. We've literally become their tenants, and we do what they say or they get even with us somehow. Getting older is bad enough. Becoming prey for somebody is unbearable.
So ironically, this new door rule might have had the opposite effect of what it was stated to prevent. In the parking garage, the lack of foot traffic going in and out at nighttime now means a lack of witnesses. And after only 2 weeks of this policy, multiple shots were fired in the parking garage at around 5 a.m. in the morning of May 6th before cars were seen speeding out of there. So we've still got a ways to go. Those new laws that passed do not focus on short-term rentals, aka Airbnb. They're not going to fix everything, they're just going to get the ball rolling. Therefore, private litigation is still the most likely way to get this resolved. And so, despite so many other issues going on here at the building, focusing on financial improprieties is sounding like the most powerful option we've got. And the sad reality is that that kind of justice is something usually available only for the very, very rich. Because the legal system moves much faster when large amounts of money are at stake versus when small amounts of human lives are at stake. As revealed in the AJC article, the legal firm we're working with will be the office of David Dreyer, former Democratic State House representative of our building's very district. And apparently, by lawsuit standards, this is an extremely expensive lawsuit. David Dreyer was actually one of 3 firms. There were 2 other law firms from much earlier who had to get paid as well. I can hardly believe it myself, but the money we've raised so far has been spent. And in a lot of ways, this money is being used to sustain a community that is under serious financial burden. A lot of it was used to help a resident out with their foreclosures, and then there were the special assessments and capital contributions and taxes, but the biggest bills have been, and are going to be, the lawyers. Please contribute any amount that you can to this campaign, and please share it with your friends and family and socials if you can't. A ton of good progress has been made over the past year that should reassure you that your donation is helping out a lot of homeowners across the entire state, not just us. So if you've been in conflict with your HOA, or if Airbnb investors are taking over your neighborhood, consider this like a donation to a campaign working on solving those problems. Because we are. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in the work we've done over the past year and just how much more good news there is to share here than bad news. So thank you all again so much for helping our community out when so many of us were in trouble.